welcome. This is the first lesson of topic 5, a pretty interesting lesson if you ask me. We're going to be talking about interactions in ecosystems, so let's get into it. So first we're going to talk about adaptations and survival. So adaptations are characteristics that make an individual better suited for its environment. So they could be physical or behavioral. So in this GIF right here, you see a octopus camouflaging. It's either camouflaging for to hide from predators, or it's trying to be a predator and sneak up on prey and eat it. Either way, that's a physical adaptation that allows that octopus to be better suited for its environment and survive. So offspring often inherit these adaptations, such as this octopus is going to pass on the camouflaging adaptation to its offspring, and those offsprings are better likely or more likely to survive. Okay, and since organisms are better adapted, they are more likely to survive and reproduce. And that's how natural selection occurs. So let's get into niches. A niche is the role an organism has in its habitat. That could be how it obtains its food, the type of food it eats, what it eats, what eats it. It could be how or when it reproduces. So if it reproduces in the winter or reproduces in the summer or the spring. And it also could be the physical conditions it needs to survive. Does it need warm weather? Does it need cold weather? So adaptations allow a population to live successfully in its niche on the resources that that environment has. So, for example, rabbits in the winter adapt to the snowfall in the cold environment by camouflaging its fur to the white color, and that's an adaptation that allows it to live successfully in its niche. Okay, and factors that influence a population's ability to survive, that could be abiotic or biotic. Abiotic being like lack of water, lack of shelter, or biotic being lack of food or the predators that are trying to eat that organism. So let's look at this example of the different niches for waiting for birds. So flamingos, they feed on mollusks. They put their head in the water and pump through their bills to find those mollusks and crustaceans and to eat them. Okay, these ducks, they feed tail up and are reaching for those plants and seeds, snails and insects. This other bird is feeding on insects, small invertebrates, seeds, and it is in the shallow waters, sweeping their bills side to side. These ones pry open shells and probe sands for worms and crabs, so it's on the shore. And these plovers dart around and they hunt for small insects and invertebrate. So each of these have a different way they're eating. They have a different thing they're eating. And they're eating in different places on the water. So these are all different niches for the different organisms. Okay, so let's get into competition and predation. These are two types of interactions among organisms. So competition's one and predation's one. So an organism may live in the same habitat and can obtain the same food, such as the duck was eating seeds as well as the plover was eating seeds. But no two species can ever occupy the same niche. So the duck has a different way of getting those seeds than the plover. So the plover's on shore, the duck is in the water, reaching for those seeds. So they don't have the same niche, okay? Even though it's on the same beach, it's not the same niche. They're not eating the same way. They may not So the two have the same seeds in common, but they're not eating all just seeds. They have different niches. Okay, and competition is the struggle between organisms to survive as they use the same limited resources. So going off the seed example, adaptations reduce the competition, so ducks are able to adapt and go into the water and find those seeds or plants, which is reducing the competition between the plovers and the ducks. Okay. So predation is when one organism kills prey for food, energy, and nutrients. So predation is just an organism consuming another organism. So all species have a way of supporting their survival in the environment. So they either need to adapt to be a better predator or to adapt to not be prey, not be eaten. So predator adaptations include sharp teeth, claws, and strong senses to quickly get those prey and survive by eating the prey. And then the prey is getting like opposite adaptations because it doesn't want to be eaten. And they have warning colors such as like, hey, don't eat me, I'm poisonous, or camouflage to hide. So totally opposite adaptations for prey. Warning colors, they're bold colors that give the predator a warning to not eat that. And then camouflage that's hiding from the predator at all. And then there could also be protective coverings like shells. There's a bunch of other different adaptations, but those are just a couple. And then too many predators can decrease prey populations. So if there was too many eagles feasting on those types of fish, that's going to decrease the population of the fish, right? So the predator and prey population usually rise and fall together predictably because of that. So here's a graph showing that. So you see time on the x-axis and size on the size of the population on the y-axis. And you can see it's like a cycle. Prey is always a little bit more than predator, except for in these instances. And then predators die down when the prey are dying down, and then the prey start to gain population. The predators are gaining population, and then they're eating all the prey and surviving, reproducing, and then, oh no, the prey is depleting, so the predators are depleting. Okay. So let's get into symbiotic relationships. That is the third type of interaction among organisms. So there's competition, there's predation, and there's symbiotic relationships. So symbiosis is any relationship where two species live closely together. And there's three types of symbiotic relationships. So first is commensalism. That is when one species benefits and the other is meh, they don't care. They're neither helped nor harmed. So an example of this is barnacles on a whale. The whale's not affected by the barnacles on it. It doesn't care if there's barnacles on its skin, but the barnacles are able to filter the different small organisms in the water as the whale is swimming on by. All right, so that's when one is benefited, so the barnacle is getting its food and hitching a ride on the whale, and the whale is like, meh, I don't care. All right. And then there's mutualism, where both species benefits. So you could see that the bee is getting its nutrients and its food by the flower and the pollen, and the flower is getting pollinated and able to get its pollen to another flower by the pollinator, the bee. Okay. And then there's parasitism. That's when one is benefiting and the other is harmed. So one is having a good time, one's not having a good time. So you could see that as a dog having fleas. That could be an issue because the fleas are feasting on the dog's blood and skin and causing it to itch, and it's not good for the dog, but the flea is having a grand old time getting all its nutrients on that dog. So the organism benefiting is called a parasite, and an organism that is being harmed, so the dog would be the host. So the flea is the parasite, the dog is the host. Again, parasitism is when one is benefiting and the other is harmed. Okay? So that's all I have. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.